Yeah, right back at it. I came here again for this week's edition of the inDmix podcast. Got the legendary
Who's that?
super lawyer, super Kurt, super promoter, everything in the building. It's his birthday week, so it was only fitting that he headlined this week's edition of the podcast, and I want to welcome you, man. I appreciate you making time being up in here. You know what I mean? Without even killing and wasting time. I want to start with you consider yourself a promoter, but what do you do professionally? What's your trade?
100% lawyer.
100% lawyer.
Criminal law is what that's my passion.
That's your passion.
Yeah,
that's what you've been doing. So people see you and they think that you're just a promoter, but you're a certified lawyer.
My day job. Monday through Friday, I'm at the courthouse. I'm
Cool.
on the phone with clients.
Where'd you go to college? Where'd you go to law school?
All right, so I went to Abilene Christian University for college.
Okay.
I got a political science degree, business degree, and what have you. And then, of course, Texas Southern University.
TSU.
Thurgood Marshall. That was my law school, and finished in about 2003.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Gotcha. Congratulations. I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you,
yeah,
sir.
man. Good to see where you're at. Now, promoter life. What inspired you to be a promoter? An event, a particular party, your personality? How did you get into promoting?
Really, with promoting, I call it marketing, but people say promoting.
Yeah.
I really, started doing it because when I finished law school, I needed to, gather clients.
Gotcha.
So when, doing happy hours and such, I just kind of fell into it,
Right. I remember you doing events, but I particularly, this is how far I go back. I got to throw my history in there. I remember the Red Star.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all don't even know where that is. I don't know what the building is today, but Red Star and Fenton, I remember that.
Yeah.
You paid me to take pictures.
Right.
I remember that. Who
Everybody
were you
told
doing
me I
that
should.
with? Right. Everybody told me I should. Yeah.
The origins were I was working with everybody who's anybody that knows anything, knows Orbit. And,
Right, back
he's
then.
a cameraman, video.
Chad Porter,
He's a
the
legend.
great.
He's a legend in himself.
Right.
And so he was a client of mine. I was working some contracts with him, and he told me to help him out. And so I did that, and we had our first couple of weeks at least.
Right, man.
We had a great response,
Listen,
and people
it was
came out.
great response,
Yeah.
but I knew the production, y'all had to be losing money, but you stayed at it.
Yeah.
And that was my vision of you, like, this guy is not going to stop. Like, he likes
Right.
really doing this
I
stuff.
stayed there. We were losing money, but I was gaining clients. So
Right.
I was like, it was a win-win for me.
Okay, so I see what you're saying.
yeah.
You're losing money promoting, but the clients that you gain and the revenue you generate from
Oh,
it
yeah, I was
made
good.
it- made-
I was good.
made
We
it
could
work
lose
out.
a whole night, but if I made 2 or 3 clients, I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm out there on my own. If I made 2 or 3 clients, that was good money for me. So I'm like, keep the party going.
Yeah, run that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be packed.
Keep going.
I'm good
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody has done more venues or parties in Houston than you. And I'm putting it out there because I've been following a lot of stuff. I'm trying to run down all the events that you've done.
There's a lot.
If it's possible.
lot.
Like if I'm wrong, y'all promoters, y'all tell me. But I don't think anybody has done more events and more clubs than Kurt. I'm gonna just try. Should I even try to run
can
it
go
down?
for it. We're gonna be-
All right,
we're
let
gonna
me-
be
let
here
me
a
do-
while.
I remember Red Star. I remember Cotton Exchange.
Office Fridays before that.
Office. So
On
you were at the
Fridays.
office first. Okay.
Yeah.
Then Cotton Exchange. Then what else?
Zula.
Zula Lounge. I remember
Venue.
Zula. Then I joined you at
I
Venue.
mean, there's so many. I don't know.
I
There's Link
know.
Lounge. There's
Link
been
Lounge. There's
there's
District.
been
I remember District.
Diablo Loco.
Pravada.
There's been Pravada used to be. It was Chrome,
Chrome.
before that. Chrome Wednesdays.
Right.
Um,
No, it's
we'd
not,
be here
it's going to be
forever.
unfair.
We'd be here
We'll
for-
be here.
it's
We'll
like-
be here
it's like-
for. Let me stop.
like
I
2,000
tried,
parties
but
and-
if you could come up with more events,
Oh, yeah, it's
I'll
been a
tell
lot.
you that I
It's
doubt
been a
that
lot.
seriously. Passion. What propelled you to keep going? What any significant events? Somebody, because you've told me this, but and I want to give mention because you told me this. Somebody didn't let you win, or somebody didn't treat you right at an event, and you're like, "Oh, I got to do this."
There was a lot of catalysts. I think my biggest catalyst that kind of got me thinking this is something I should do and I could bring to Houston. I used to go to M-Bar religiously.
Gotcha.
Every
Everybody.
Thursday. That was,
Everybody.
and for a guy that was networking, that was the place to be. My
Right.
first couple of years out of law school, I was very blessed to make a lot of money. I think I had booked the table at the M-Bar, and I was going to go celebrate, and I made plans. I called ahead. Everything was perfect.
Right.
And I get there early so I can set up, and I believe that one of the promoters, it wasn't Steve or Lisa, had moved. One of the promoters.
That Wait.
One of the promoters had
Respect.
moved my table, and had they had moved it for a really important guy that everybody knows,
Right.
and they had given me a really small, almost insulting table, and
So you take offense.
I was furious because I had done everything so right. I called ahead. I wanted to show off,
Right.
celebrate my success, and it was a little, like almost a school chair with the board on it, and it was just, it was so
my
bad.
goodness.
And that's when I was like, I had been doing a little bit of events, but I was like,
But
somebody
this
has to do it
happens
right.
all the time, and this how
Oh, yeah.
egos.
I know
egos
now.
are rough. Right.
I know
right,
now.
Right. And that's
Yeah,
my
yeah.
point. I don't think Russ said.
I'm not saying who it was. I don't
There's
know
no way.
who
I
you
know.
were
I
from.
know Russ.
Look.
I know Russ. It's just, there's no way Russ said, "Whose table is this?" Oh, forget him. I'm gonna move him here.
Right. Yeah.
Now
I mean,
that you're a promoter, you have to understand that sometimes you got to move it for the clients
yeah,
you call in.
yeah,
It happens
absolutely.
there.
I mean, I've done it before.
So,
that
but-
was a catalyst. That was a catalyst to get me thinking, like, you know what, I can do an event that's more geared toward, like the regular person, like, just
Gotcha.
the person
Instead
that
of the
really,
celebrity.
Right. I mean, I've done a lot of celebrity events, but you got to kind of like, you always got to keep in mind your number one customer is a person who's,
Just
the,
regular.
your
They're
regular
the
person who
people
wants to
that
have
fill
a
up
good
your room
time.
every week.
Yeah, like I said, I've done it before too now, so there's nothing wrong, and I understand the industry better now. But that was one of the many catalysts that kind of got me
That
thinking.
is so
like,
crazy. You see how sensitive promoters are?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
so
I was-
crazy.
I was
Like he was just
surprised.
trying to chill and do a lawyer's party.
Right, that's it.
They give him the wrong table, and the beast
Small.
called Kurt is born, and he's been
Small.
throwing events ever since. The
Small
first event
table.
you do after that is what?
Well, the first event I did was I think it was the office on Fridays. I was
Okay.
working with Brooke and Avalon, and I'd spoken to DeJuan and Bobby were there, and I was doing a little happy hour shindig
Right.
at the office.
I
on
remember the
Fridays.
office.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
It was
Dewan
cool.
was at the office.
Yeah, he was- I
How
think
does
he was
Cotton
there by then.
Exchange happen? Because that was the first party I went to,
Okay,
and
so-
A Few Good Men was already there. So how did that collaboration start?
Well, they're okay. They were doing some events there. So we abruptly got removed
From office.
from the office on
What
Friday.
happened?
I don't remember what happened, but I think I
You're
think
being political.
they're Saturday promoters, and their Saturday was really strong. And I
Right.
think Friday, the idea was Friday is supposed to be different, and Friday started to look like Saturday, so there became a rift. The promoters on Saturday were not happy,
Shifted up.
from what I understand, and the ownership wasn't happy either. Like, there's too close together, and we didn't want to saturate the market, which is what they do now.
Right.
So we
Who
we
was
got
the
removed.
promoter on Saturday?
Man, I think it was. I think it was Dave. Dave was there.
Dave Anderson.
With a couple of other folks there, and
Okay.
I think the office was self-promoting also.
Okay.
So we
gotcha.
got abruptly removed, and then
They
I
had to choose a night.
They
I'm
had to
just
choose a
telling
night,
you
yeah.
how
They
this
had
how
to,
this
yeah,
goes.
it was fine.
They pick a night. They don't want it to be saturated. You want your club to run longer.
Right.
You got to make a pick.
Right.
Got it. So that
And
happens.
so I called around, and a good friend of mine, which is Mate Cora,
Monte.
MC Beauty.
Right.
I was like, hey, I got to get a spot. She says, you know what? Let me make a phone call. And I believe she was familiar with A Few Good Men, but she was also familiar with the ownership of the Cotton Exchange. She made that call. She said, hey, you're good. You got Saturdays over there. Let's do it.
Wow.
So
that is
that's,
dope.
the Cotton Exchange was really that first.
Boom. I remember
Yeah,
it.
oh, yeah.
I was taking pictures there on Saturdays. Then John eventually took over that account. Was
Yeah.
Candy on the deal initially, or Candy comes
No,
later on?
Candy wasn't on the deal initially. When I was, they kind of gave me the night, and they were kind of like, well, put your team together. So I was like, I was stressed because I didn't really know anybody.
Right.
But I'd gone to.
Candy was
Candy
the
still is.
bleep
Legend.
legend then.
Period,
Like,
yeah.
period. She ran
Yeah.
she was radio, she was slicker,
Absolutely.
she knew the people, she had contacts. It was crazy. So it
when
made sense.
when I was putting it together, I thought of the promoter events I've been to, and I've been hearing about Candy. I've been gone to her parties. Also, I've been to A Few Good Men and their events, and that's when I just made those phone calls. And they were, for a guy that wasn't doing that many events, they kind of. Both of those groups took me in. They were like, "Yeah, we'll rock with you." So I was shocked because
Right.
I wasn't getting that type of love from a lot of other
Other
promoters
spots,
when I first
right.
got in. Not at all. I wasn't. So those Candy was like, first conversation. She was like, "Let's do it." I was
Right.
like, "Really?" Nobody knows who I am.
Yeah, right. For them not to know you and just say, because Beauty's the one who brought A Few Good
Right.
Men, you don't even know them.
Yeah, and when they spoke to me, they were like, "Yeah, let's do it." And I was
Right.
like, "Wow, these guys are really reaching out." So they were great partners to learn from, and the way we built that night, it was different. I think
Right.
at the time
It was
yeah.
exclusive. I used to go around
Oh,
the
yeah.
corner Because I'm like, man, you have all the athletes and all of that went to the office and the major industry folks. The cool,
Right.
the less dressy went to Glow Saturdays if you can get in anywhere, and then the professionals went to.
Oh man,
Cotton
you couldn't
Exchange.
get in Cotton Exchange.
You
unless
had
you
to
had
be
dress shoes.
exclusive,
Everybody
right.
would say you need your church clothes to get in.
Yeah,
You had to be,
absolutely.
and people loved it. People
And you
loved the
set that
idea.
bar. From there, you go to Zula.
Never went to Zula, and we were there about maybe a year or so.
Right. I'm still taking pictures there too. And then venue happens.
And then
And
Venue
this is
was a
when
beast.
inDmix is blown up.
Right.
And instead of people paying me, sometimes it's just include them. But that was
Right.
my first promotional gig, which Danielle actually
Yeah,
suggested.
he
It wasn't
he
you.
suggested.
It wasn't you. Yeah, let's just say that.
he gave a
Kurt didn't
very
bring me on
strong
venue.
suggestion.
I know that. But this was my first intro to A Few Good Men because they were so welcoming. No offense. I mean,
Yeah.
you're just doing your thing. But A Few Good Men welcomed me in the group into venue.
Yep.
And we got to talk about venue because has there been a more profitable night through your tenure as a promoter?
10+ years, there's never been a more profitable night than
Listen to
Venue.
me. Venue was a monster.
Yeah, it was
like
crazy.
it was crazy. The hottest night in the city. It wasn't even close.
Every Saturday.
We battled with the office. I remember office still prevailed, but
For a little while.
For a little while,
For a
and
little
then
while.
eventually, I don't even know what happened with. And Level came on and all of that stuff, and still venue was a place to
Venue was
be.
a great spot.
It ran its course, and I got to tell y'all this. Y'all don't know it, but Kurt kicked me out of it. Yes. That's important. That's important. I got to say that.
Kick you out. It was,
If I hold
it was
a grudge,
business.
it was a business. Yeah,
right.
he wanted me to get a team. Everybody had a team. I'm not getting a
We'll
team.
talk about
I'm an
teams,
online
yeah.
guy. This is what I do. But funny enough, I need to bring this up because it's an advice to promoters. Like he kicks me out. Anybody else hold a grudge, and I'm never talking to him again. But how I'm built is just, hey, listen. Instead of being mad at him, I was appreciative of how the night had run its course, and I didn't hold a grudge. And now he's my top paying client. So, it's just a testament
He's
to
getting
those.
his money back.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
he's
yeah,
good.
yeah. So to speak. What we gotta do? How we doing on time, Q? We doing good? Yeah, I'm putting you on blast because producer's right there. All right, let's go to worst loss in your promotional career.
Worst loss, and you remember this. man, oh man.
You've done so many events.
What
It's
event was
crazy.
The aquarium.
The aquarium.
Downtown.
Hands down. The funny
Downtown
part.
aquarium. I was sick to the stomach.
To the stuff.
Never lost
They
that much
didn't
money.
want to do it.
Right, and we pushed it.
And we pushed it.
it.
We're like, we want to make it do it. So we forced their hand and they make us do it. And it's a Wednesday. I will never forget.
Man.
It was pre-Thanksgiving
man.
Eve.
We got murdered.
We got
We got murdered.
murked, man.
I've never seen so few people
It's
for such a big event.
It's
I'm
such
like,
a dope ass venue. So I got to tell y'all, like, you win some and you lose some, but being a successful promoter is a law of averages.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm gonna conclude this segment. We gonna catch on and continue because I got more questions for you in the next segment. Signing out. Yeah.
all right.